everybody, and welcome on out to another edition of the Living Deadwax podcast here on the Living Deadwax YouTube channel. We talk about music here tonight. We got a fun topic for you. If you are into vinyl records, talking about music, generally rock music and various forms of it, join us. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below on tonight's topic. We'd love to hear from you. I am Ty, joined by my co-host Tyler. Tyler, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing great, brother. Doing great. We just spent a good 2.5 hours not doing the podcast, just talking about everything and anything. So that was a good time. Peek behind the scenes here. So we already did about 2 or 3 podcasts pretty quick, but doing great. Ready to talk for another 2 hours here on record. So we're good.
Yeah, definitely. And tonight's topic was my choice. We always alternate the choosing of the topics, and I chose your personal greatest American rock bands. And when I say that, it's kind of I think it's kind of an obvious thing what I mean. Like when you think of American rock bands, you think of certain bands. Now, I wanted to more personalize it because I think there is a subjective and objective truth to this. Like, I think objectively, you'd probably say, Aerosmith, stuff like that. Those bands might not make the list. I don't know your list, but like Aerosmith, Van Halen, those bands. I tried to choose bands that we potentially wouldn't talk about a ton, or artists. That's the way I kind of interpreted this. And like truly great American rock bands, I think, but kind of underrated ones. I don't know how you took it.
Okay. So I actually did this very differently. So because I texted you clarification to make sure it was, what was going on. So you told me that, and then you told me that you were going to do bands that are not necessarily talked about. We have not talked about very much on a lot in the podcast. Well, I've ran my American rock bands into the goddamn ground here on this podcast. So my top 5 are all bands. My normal top 5 here, because this is not my top 5 normally. I've ran this well dry. I've probably talked about all of them every other podcast in some way, shape, or form. And so I have 2 of them on this list that I think are real, and they would make my 5. But the other 3 are American rock bands or whatever adjacent that I'm just very into right now. And they are some all-timers for me. But I don't know all-timers, but damn near. And so that we have not ran into the ground here. So there's no Van Halen on here. There's no Guns N' Roses. There's no Aerosmith, even though we haven't really talked about Aerosmith a lot, actually. But
no,
we both are very, very much so the Aerosmith is a greatest hits band for us. Once we get past the songs, it kind of gets a little weird. There's no Doors on this either, so I did not pick the Doors. So there's only a couple other bands literally left that I would really put the list on, but put on the list. But I put 2 of them, and then I have the 3 others are a little more wild card that I'm just into right now. So that are American based. Okay,
I mean you kind of interpreted it the same way. So not too
bad. Of your 5. How many did you pick any legitimate, like if you did like the ones we have talked about a lot, how many of them are on there, if any?
None of these, some of these bands have been mentioned before, but no in-depth conversations. One band I have had kind of in-depth. 4 of the 5, we have not gone in-depth hardly at all. Honestly, none of these bands, I think other than one, maybe was an honorable in my top 10 bands of all time.
Ooh, okay.
So like, you're not going to get Journey tonight. You're not going to get, I don't listen to a lot of American rock bands.
No,
it's all British bands. I'm like, I need something else here.
When I thought about this, when we were talking about it, and I thought about it, I was like, I mean, Ty listens to mostly British bands or other Europe at least. A lot of European bands.
Or Rush.
Wheelhouse. Or Rush, true. Yeah. Me and you talked about that before. We talked about talking about because I think my question was American bands versus British bands.
It was Bin or Spin.
Bin or Spin, yeah. And then we did that. We already did that. Yeah. And you basically were like, British immediately because it was pretty easy. And I was like, all right, what do we factor in? Canada, North American,
you did North
bands,
America,
and then it got a little more complicated, but you still went the Brits. So okay,
so that's kind of what I discovered doing this. Like, some of these bands are just going to make the list anyway, but like, there's no Van Halen. Not a huge gun. You're more the Guns guy, so like no Guns. You know, obviously no AC/DC, no Scorpions, no Accept. So there's so many bands that are big in America, but obviously they can't be on the list. So this was a fun one because it kind of narrowed it down a little bit for me. Before we get into tonight's topic, gonna celebrate a little bit of birthday here. My co-host just had a recent birthday.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
You're like, whose birthday was it?
Literally, yes. I really thought.
Dude, I mean, the older you get, the more it becomes irrelevant. But
that's true. I am 26 this year, I
did want to get you a couple things. So,
sick.
I got you a couple things here.
Okay,
and I got you two pieces that I don't know if you have either one. So I got two, and if you have one, I'll take whatever you don't have.
All right,
because I'll take them too. These I know you don't have.
Okay,
so this is a pretty sick one. Found this at Zia.
Okay,
I don't know. You might have seen this there. It just didn't buy it or didn't realize it was there. I don't know how long it had been sitting there.
Okay,
got you the Enter Sandman single.
Never saw that. All right, wow, that's
so
nice.
I know you're getting into your cassette game.
Yeah.
It's very niche thing. Yeah. So it's a black cassette, which is cool.
That is sick.
So matches. The B side is Stone Cold Crazy. It's kind of cool too.
Wow. Okay. Nice. It's a cover there. Nice. I like that.
So it's got the slip. Get you into
the
single
nice
game
too.
Yeah, it's really nice. And that way you can listen to Enter Sandman whenever you want, because everybody needs to hear Enter Sandman.
It's true. And with the auto reverse, I can do Enter Sandman, Stone Cold Crazy, Enter Sandman, Stone Cold Crazy, back to back to back. Just let it keep going. Yeah. Which actually, just spoiler, I did recently do research. That is bad. Auto reverse on cassette decks will eventually ruin them.
I have read that as well, which sucks. Because my Kenwood works really nice. Yeah, my Kenwood works really nice. So just don't play them that often.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just look at them. Okay. Another cassette, Whitesnake. Come and get it.
No, wow, I did not know that. Okay, I've not seen that.
Another Zia pickup. All these are Zia pickups. This one was this is really nice. I think I didn't look it up yet, but I think it's an 80s, like a late 80s pressing. I think they redid this when 87 came out.
Okay.
Because it's really nice. It's a clear cassette.
Okay.
Which usually says it's a latter era. The J card is minty as hell.
Nice.
So got all the guys there.
Looking all.
And it's pretty bare bones.
Thank you, brother. That's the shit. Also, I dig when we talked about this before. I dig when the cassette because I am getting into my cassette era here because I've run out of room for my vinyl, so I still need to do a new setup, and I'm just stacking records here as I buy them, which is not good for everything going on. Yeah. So I've been buying a lot more cassettes, and I have a tape player now. So I like that, but I do like when the cassette, for example, I guess this will, it's not a pickup. I like when the cassette has a special, like a version of the cover. Because this is not the exact, obviously, cover. It's a similar cover to the CD, but it's not the exact cover. So they actually change it because, exactly. So when they have the cover and like it's a half cover and it's just it's the CD or the vinyl picture and then it's bullshit. I don't like that as much. So I appreciate that. Yeah. It's awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So this is very much the same as the vinyl, but it's more condensed. I mean, it's a nice cover.
Yeah,
they did it well because the main cover is it's big. Like this is in the center and it's black around it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah. Like I think this is a late 80s press. Like I think they probably reissued everything when 87 came out and they
for sure
started
it's also on Geffen.
Selling a billion copies.
So I don't think that record was original on Geffen, I feel like.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Yeah. Two other things. These are the bigger items. Those are like
sick.
those are smaller. They're cheap. Cassettes.
Okay.
So these ones you might have either or both. I don't know.
Okay.
If you got both, I'll just keep them both. I don't care.
Both.
If you've got one or the other, I'll just keep the other one.
Okay.
First one picked up the Alice Cooper.
Ooh, don't have that at all.
Yeah, this is the Alice Cooper live from the AstroTurf that he did with the old
band. Yeah, that was a Records for Day like 2014 or something like that. Sets from or something or other, something like that.
Well, I think they reissued it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I think that
2022
happened on Records for Day.
Oh yeah, it was 2015.
There you go.
Now it was October 6th, 2015, so that wouldn't have been anything.
Oh, okay. I lied to you.
No. Hold on. I know the answer to this because there's a quote from Alice on the back. Okay. I just showed up to support Dennis's book.
Oh.
Anytime there's a stage and the original guys set up, I'm in.
Hell yeah.
So that's the quote on the back of it. And this is a good set. You got Caught in a Dream, Be My Lover, I'm 18, Is It My Body, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Under My Wheels, School's Out, Elected, and Desperado was the soundtrack. So I don't know if that's an Eagles cover.
No, that's a Cooper song.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all Cooper band tracks. That first half is all the second record.
Yeah, so that's very cool. It's cool that this even happened. Cool pictures. This is Ear Music too, who they did all the Sabotage reissues, so that's going to be good.
You like them?
It's hand numbered out of 4,000. This is 1,024. The cool thing about this, and the main reason I got it, is it comes with the DVD. There's a documentary about the reunion.
That is the shit.
So hopefully it's an import. So hopefully the DVD is not region locked, because that would suck.
Wow.
Take a gamble there.
Didn't think about that at all, brother. Interesting.
It doesn't say on the back. I doubt it is. That would be dumb if they region locked it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that is the shit.
There's a documentary in here about this show. So there you go. This is also glow in the dark vinyl. So there you go.
I wouldn't have taken it any other way.
Yeah. And then the last one, I don't know if you I know you've eyed this. I don't know if you bought it.
Okay.
So
I didn't buy it.
But this is something I would eventually probably have bought into. So the Nirvana.
Oh,
from the Muddy Banks of the
hell
Wishka,
yeah.
So
yeah, the Wishka.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a cool set. Somebody turned this into use.
Set.
This is the
okay, go on, sorry. Keep on. Go.
I think this is the 2016 one.
Okay.
Because it's 180 gram. It's very heavy.
So it's not because me and you, because I regret this to this day, but now I have it. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I love you to death. But we did see this at In Groove, and it was like a weird, like Universal Music, and it was like a Euro press. Is that not what that is?
Nah, this isn't it. This is the US pressing.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, this was sealed too.
A Geffen US pressing.
Okay. Either way.
Yeah, this isn't sealed. It does come with the hype sticker, so that was cool. The guy kept it. And 180 gram, and it does have MoFis in there too, so the guy took care of his shit. So you don't even have to do that.
That's awesome. That I think, as of right now, I think that finishes out my live Nirvana record collection. Nice. So I think I have all the officials. Cool. I think I now have all the officials. So that's the shit. So hell yeah, thank you, sir.
I'm going to tell you a more funny story about this. So they had this sealed up. It wasn't that much money, but they had it sealed up. Okay. But I think it was over their threshold or whatever. So brought everything up. I bought that. I bought a couple other things for myself. And I'm like, okay, this will be around this price when I got up there total. I'm like, I'm comfortable with that. I put this on top and I told the girl, hey, I need to look at this.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, that's fine. So I looked at it. She's bringing up the other shit. And I looked at this. She rang up basically everything and I got done. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take this too. And then she's like, okay, it'll be this. I put my card in, ran it, whatever. My digital receipt came to me because I don't get printed receipts anymore.
Yeah.
And then I left. And I'm like, okay, cool. I got all the way home. And I'm like, that amount was not correct.
Yeah.
Got all the way home. and that was my grandfather's in town, so we had something to do immediately after. I know I'm layering on excuses.
Okay.
Anyway, I checked my receipt. She never rang this up. I felt terrible. I'm like, that girl's gonna be short if they check that. I'm sure they do.
Yeah. Well,
this
no,
short
because
girl's
she never
gonna be
rang
short.
it. There's no proof of anything, so that record just in the system gone. There's no name attached to it.
Okay, all right, that's good. I feel less bad.
No, yeah.
And so I was like, wait, that was cheaper than what I thought it was good. And I checked the receipt when I got home, and I'm like, yeah, it wasn't on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't go back. I'm too far gone.
I get you. I get you. No, yeah, nobody's in trouble for that. That just got hidden somewhere, and no one has found it and whatever. So there, in the system, it still says it exists at Zia. So I apologize to Zia for you that there's a system error.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true. So there you go.
I mean, hey, how many times we paid for shit we shouldn't have paid for because it was garbage? We didn't look at it, whatever, right? So Chalk, listen, we won one. We won one back. Okay.
Yeah.
We've overpaid for bad things. We've gotten ripped off for things that we had to buy because we're dumb. So listen, we got one back. Okay. So
that's it, man. Happy birthday.
That's fucking awesome. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. I didn't expect all that, but that is all badass shit that I don't have. So I will definitely lean, because I also Metallica cassettes. I would buy Metallica cassettes. So like, we're not just adding on random things here.
Yeah.
I would buy Metallica cassettes. I already have my Whitesnake collection going, so my Whitesnake collection gets a little more beefier. I like that a lot. My Cooper, I was wanting to buy that forever, but I still was like, I'm waiting for it to go down a little bit because it was like 36er or so. And I was like, I don't know about that. Cooper is okay. Cooper is unfortunately very expensive right now. I don't like that.
My first thought was like, all right, I'll just buy him the fucking school.
No,
I
wouldn't like that. Wouldn't have liked that.
And then I'm like, I forgot how much they were, and like the school's out was like $80.
Yes, 100%. I wouldn't want you to do that.
The new Rhino reissues or whatever, the deluxe.
They're badass too. They have live sets on there. I listen to them. They're badass, but it's just so much. And like we looked last week, all the used Cooper too. Everything is damn near $20 and up for all Cooper. Unless it's ruined, then it's $14. But for any halfway decent used Cooper, and obviously new Cooper, is all $20 up.
Even if she would have rang up that Nirvana, it would have been less than what that School's Out was.
Yeah,
total.
It sucks. Things. And like, I honestly think that we'll get because also another reason why I don't want to buy it at Zia, and I'm glad that you didn't buy it. I do think that is going to be an Amazon $35 gimmick at some point.
Are they on Amazon?
I'm almost positive. I think they are, because I think I looked to see if that was a thing.
Okay. Because some of the Rhino stuff is not on there, like the cars.
Oh shit!
Have we exclusive to the store?
That, have we?
I haven't seen it. I think that Mike ordered them in, but I never saw them at a store, so they must have just got bought up.
Yeah.
So like, I think they were either select stores or they're Rhino exclusives, because I don't think that's on Amazon.
Okay, so everything is on Amazon for Cooper. So they're listed at 70 on here originally for Cooper, and the School's Out is listed at 80. That's now at 70. So that's down $10 right now. Yeah. And the Killer is listed at 70. It's down to 62. So that's also going down. Those are going to go down because those are records. Those are big records, right? But I don't think that people want to pay $80 for a 3 LP set. I don't think they want to do that for Cooper stuff. Like, what's funny about that is he got a pro. I mean, did you tell me the story? Did you tell me the Cooper story? They talked to Cooper overseas? No?
I don't think so.
Okay. So it might have been Trunk. I don't remember. But somebody asked Cooper, he was at a show or something or other, and somebody asked Cooper about the reissues and like how expensive they were. And then Cooper and Alice was just like, he was like, yeah, I don't know. We got nothing to do with that anniversary. He's like, that's cool. It's really cool they did that, but I have nothing to do with that. So like he was not, because he doesn't really sweat. Apparently, he doesn't really sweat the past like that. He doesn't like make it a big presentation so much. So like the record label put him out. I think he's on. Maybe it's Universal, possibly, whatever. But I think they just put him out for anniversaries.
it's Warner who owns Rhino.
Okay, yeah, so Warner. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Warner,
so
and
Warner
he was
did
on Warner back in the day. So Warner still owns Warner still owns those rights. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he didn't know they were out there. He's like, they're cool. He's not gonna fight them or anything. He's like, I didn't have anything to do with them though. So whatever. So yeah, that's badass.
That's funny. You got it.
Yeah, I do think that there'll be sub 40 at some point here in the next maybe year or so. I don't know how many they put out. That might not happen because maybe there wasn't a lot made. Yeah. But I'll wait it out. We'll see what happens.
Little heads up though, the Van Halen set is marked down to $100 on Amazon right now. So if you want to get in on it now. I don't know if it's going to go much lower. I pre-ordered day one because I was comfortable with the 125 or whatever it was. So
yeah.
So now I'll get it for 103 or whatever it is. So
that's a killer deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Van Halen, the Van Hagar set that they're doing. Also, they announced, speaking of price, I was kind of pissed. They announced a Dio box set.
Oh.
That is the last 4 albums.
Okay.
So a lot of those are in need of reissues because they're all 90s and 2000 stuff. And so that is very cool, but it's like $150 for 4 albums. Yeah. I have it pre-ordered right now. I might cancel it. It doesn't come out until like the end of September. I'm going to see if it gets down to like the $100 price point.
Are they expanded at all? Like double LPs or what?
Well, they got to be some of those records are like an hour plus long. So I think a couple of them might be double LPs. So they are colored variants too. So they're a little different than the Van Halen. Like they're a little bit more done. I was just like, that price point kind of sucks. Considering the Van Halen's just got back down to 100. So we'll see if that Dio goes down. So
the Van Halen being $100 or even being $125, it's 5 LPs, 4 records. They didn't expand anything. We already talked about this, I think, but they didn't expand anything. They took off. They did a straight repress for better or worse of Carnal Knowledge and of Balance. Both those records had songs removed from the vinyl to make it fit on the single LP. I think it'd be cool. That was originally on the CD. I think it'd been cool if they would have added those back in and expanded to 2 LPs, but obviously that price would have changed. But now they have a B-sides 5th LP.
Yeah. Didn't they put it on there though?
They did, yeah. So you do get everything in the set. It's just not on the record. It's just whatever. But I wish they would have just done that. But again, that would have affected the price and it would have been whatever. So we wouldn't be talking about that.
I mean, we would have been if they would have waited and included the live record in there.
Oh,
it would have been like $200. So I'm kind of happy the way they did it.
We just paid more for the live record than we're going to pay for the box.
Yes. So I'm kind of happy the way they did it because it would have been $200 plus if they would have put the live album in there too. So, anyways, let's get into tonight's topic. Great American rock bands, our favorite. So Tyler, kick us off. I gave 5. No honorables tonight, just 5. And I didn't order these at all. So.
Okay, yeah, I got 5. These are not in order. These are a lot of these. I've not talked about any of these bands, but I'm just very into them right now. Cool. So here we are. The last 2 are real. These ones are just American bands that I haven't driven into the ground at all. So like whatever. And I would recommend everybody check them out because they're amazing. All right, first band is a band out of Ohio. They're a very theatrical band. They are often compared, and the reason why I like them a lot is they're often compared to Meatloaf and a little bit of Queen. And that band is going to be Foxy Shazam. Oh, okay. This is the self-titled record. Foxy Shazam, they have broken up twice now. They recently got back together for a new record this last year. I've not listened to it yet. I actually listened to it a little bit today. I've not finished it out because I realized I had not listened to it. But I think they have 4 records out there. They're very loud, very fun, very theatrical. The first record's a very heavy record too. But from the second record on, it just gets more and more theatrical, more and more crazy. And there's piano, there's strings. There's Eric Nally, the vocalist. His voice is just insane and just bounces everywhere. And you can see the clear Freddie influence. And then like everything else is a lot of Meatloaf. The first time I ever saw Foxy, they were opening. I've seen them 3 or 4 times now. And I actually just found a set list in the trunk of my car from from when I saw them, like whenever, like fucking years ago. That was actually in my old car. I transferred over to this car because I was cleaning out the old car and just put it back, and I just never picked it up, whatever. And it's actually still in the car as we speak right now. I just remembered that, so whatever. Anyway, so it's like 10 years old now. But anyway, the first time I ever saw Foxy, they were opening up for the Fall of Troy, and they are not. They're not in that vein necessarily, so it was very different. And so in the middle of the set, the first song, Eric Nally, lead singer, takes out an entire pack of cigarettes, puts them in his mouth, and lights all the cigarettes, right? And then he takes them out and he just puff over, and he does like maybe 2 or 3 times. And then when the song breaks, like it breaks down, puts them all in his mouth, and then like eats them all, and then lit cigarettes, and then spits them all over the crowd. Really? Yeah, no, exactly. And then also like randomly, the first time I saw him, I think it was 16. And another crazy thing is like, so that happened. I was like, that's insane. And then he walks, it was the clubhouse. He walks down the stairs of the clubhouse and goes in the back a little bit. And then the bands keep playing or whatever. And then when the song breaks in again, he just runs as fast as he can up the stairs and just throws himself into the crowd. And he's a slight, small man. He just throws himself into the crowd. And it was kind of the craziest thing I had seen. His knee, because I was obviously I was on the stage. I was front. So his knee came with like maybe that much of just nailing me in the temple. So it would have been a bad night. Anyway, Foxy Shazam, they broke up. Not after this record, the next record, because I have 2 of these are all money now too, because they don't have a very wide release. And so they broke up. This is my favorite record they ever did. For me, when you listen to this record, the song Unstoppable, that is such a cool song. Also, the hype video for this record is Unstoppable is featured in it. I go back to that hype video so often because they just did a really, really like cool presentation with it. It was like HD in 2011, I think this is. Oh, nice. 2010. So it's like an HD video on YouTube, and it's just really, really well done. And it's awesome. So I would recommend also checking that out on YouTube. It's sick. But Unstoppable, Oh Lord, Killing It, Bye Bye Symphony, all really, really cool songs. They should have been a lot bigger. They didn't get as big as they should have been at the time, and I think they're more thought about glowingly now than they ever were. And then once they broke up, fun thing for Eric, he started a solo career, but he also got featured on the big Macklemore song. You know this song, even if you don't think you do right now. It was a massive, massive song. It was Griffey's actually in the video, which is funny because he's from Seattle. So, but Eric does the hook on the song, and he's in the video too. And I remember hearing that song on the radio. I forget where I was. Obviously it was on the radio, so it was years and years ago. But like, I remember hearing the song. And I was like, that sounds like Eric from Foxy Shazam. And they had just broken up maybe a year or so before. And then I was like, I looked it up. I was like, oh shit, that is Eric Nally. He's getting big. And then unfortunately did not get any bigger than that. And then Foxy came back a couple years ago, and whatever. But I still need to go see them. The new iteration, the new incarnation of it. So anyway, so I love Foxy. This is not but I again drove the American rock bands in the ground, but I would recommend checking out this very American, very Ohio based rock band. Very cool if you like Queen and Meatloaf and all the other theatrical loud bands. There you go. Anyway, love it.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Boom.
That's a good choice. I like that. Maybe we'll tie this like underrated, I guess, or like untalked about sort of.
Let's do it.
Even though I was just looking at my list, all of my bands, other than one, but they will be, are Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Like, how underrated sick. Can you be? So
okay,
we'll go. First one I'm gonna go with. About 60 years of music, 75 million records worldwide. Just when you think of Americana, like this is you. Like a lot of people think of Bruce Springsteen. This is my era's Bruce Springsteen. My era. Okay. Like my family, like that era.
I know where you're going.
Do you know where I'm going?
Is he from Detroit?
I'm going with John. No, not John Mellencamp. I'm going with Bob Seger. I just do with the John Mellencamp too. Tyler will.
No.
I'm going Bob Seger, man. Like Tyler said, Detroit. Just great rock songs, man. Timeless stuff. Night Moves, Turn the Page, still the same. Hollywood Nights, Against the Wind, You'll Accompany Me. There's so many. Roll Me Away, Like a Rock. Dude, Shakedown, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Come on. So many songs. Doing research too. I didn't know he co-wrote Heartache Tonight, the Eagles song, which went #1.
Oh, wow. That's why he can buy his house.
There you go.
That's where the money comes from.
So yeah, I mean, this is the greatest hits. This is what I grew up on. I love this greatest hits. Hits so many nostalgic feels when I see this album, and had to be on the list, man. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012 or in 2004, excuse me. So they got that right, and then he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2012. So
oh wow,
cool. Nice. Hall of Fame. There's I pulled Against the Wind too. Got the cool hype sticker for Fire Lake, which is like a cool song, but that's not Against the Wind's the big song on this record. So it's kind of funny that's the one they chose to hype. So yeah, I need a nice copy of Night Moves again.
I think I have a sealed copy, actually.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't have one, so I need to rebuy that. So yeah, that was my #1 choice. First choice, somebody that came to mind very easily and quickly was Seeger.
So what's funny? So I love Seeger too. Obviously, we're middle class, blue collar American folks here, come from that stock. So I also grew up with Seeger, and something that is funny that so the sound of Seeger, a lot of Seeger, especially in the 70s and whatnot, has a lot of piano in there, and piano has dominated a lot of bands that we love. The piano player for a lot of those records is Roy Bittan from the E Street Band.
Oh, okay.
So Roy Bittan is the sound on Bowie. He's on Bowie records. He did Jackson Browne records. He did Tracer Chapman records. Did Chicago, Bob Dylan, Dire Straits, Peter Gabriel, Meatloaf. That's why, because the whole first Meatloaf record is, I believe, Roy Bittan, and I believe also Max is on that record as well. Stevie Nicks, Seeger, Lou Reed, even through Nelly Furtado. So Roy Bittan has played on, and Mark Knopfler records as well. So Roy Bittan has played on so many records, including a lot of Seeger records, a lot of piano stuff that he's done.
A lot of American artists on that list too.
Yeah, so absolutely. So it's just funny that the piano sound from all those records is all the same guy. So shout out Roy Bittan. You might come up later. So yeah, I love it. I love Seeger. And definitely, if you think American, like true, like heartland dudes or whatever, you think about Seeger. And some people think about Johnny Cougar too. So no disrespect to Johnny Cougar. He's not, Bruce Springsteen, but
I mean, if you grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, even if you didn't know him, like you saw those Chevy commercials, like a Rock was, you saw those all the time. So like you knew his songs, and then even if you didn't, you knew like old time rock and roll because you knew that piano. And you knew Tom Cruise and Risky Business. So like, like his music is indelible. Like it's American culture at this point. It really is. It's tied into movies, TV, and radio. Obviously, there's so much, man. And I think he just recently like officially retired. Yeah, I think like a Sparrow was like, I think it was a few years ago. 2018 was announced a Sparrow tour. So
he's done. As far as I know, he's done. My ex's parents went to, they're massive Seeger fans. So they went to that last tour, and I remember asking her dad. Her dad's a very honest man, and I asked him, and I was like, they've seen him a million times, and I was like, how was it? And he was like, yeah, he's done. So I'm glad that he's calling it, because it was getting a little, he's sitting down a lot, and he's 76 years old or so. He's getting up there, and he's like, yeah, it's about time for him to retire. So I'm glad that he's doing that before it gets real bad. But also, funny enough, speaking of the same person, ex-girlfriend, also gets, when we drove to Disneyland one time, I told you the story, we were listening to Turn the Page, Metallica, and she got angry. She got visibly literally actually angry listening
That's
to
funny.
Metallica do Turn the Page. And she said, "What the hell is this?" And I said, "It's Turn the Page." She's like, "No, it's not."
It's a great cover.
Yeah, and she's like, "This shit sucks. Turn it off." Like, she got actually pretty serious about it. I was like, "Oh, you don't like this at all?" She's like, "No, it's disrespectful. Disrespectful. This is not the way this song goes." And yeah, so
did you hear on side tangent? Did you hear on Trunk when Ricky Rackman was on there? They were talking about that video, and the chick in that video, they're like, she showed up, and they're like, "You look way too good," so she had to like get ragged for that video.
Yeah, wasn't it?
She's an old
porn star.
prawn.
Yeah,
you just screwed out. You just screwed our algorithm. Thanks.
Oh, that's sorry, Connie Brown. Wasn't it
our algorithm?
Oh yeah, true. Okay. Well, Connie Brown will still find it. Was it Tracy Lords? No. It's a big no. It's because obviously it's people way before we ever knew what this was. It's Sunny. No.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, it was a big.
Here we go. The controversy.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
All
right, just get to the bit. I'm reading this.
Yeah.
Ginger Lynn.
There you go. Yeah. I just know that person exists. I don't know anything about this person, obviously, because this person is way before we ever were sentient.
Before our time.
Way before our time. So I couldn't even pick her to line up besides that video. But yeah, and then I remember because Ricky talked about it, he's like that. Like, it's her story basically. Like, it's all about things kind of falling apart and doing the thing.
It is, but also she showed up to the shoot and was like, "No, you still look good. Like, you need to look like worse,
like hell." Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta bust her up.
I just kind of found that funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what Ricky said, because Ricky worked with her at the Cat House or some shit. So Ricky knew her. Yeah. And Ricky said she got into good shape for the video specifically.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes.
I'm in a video again. I'm going to actively try to look good. Got there and was like, "No, this ain't that type of video. We don't need you to look good. We want you to look not good." So she wasted all her time, getting in better health and getting in the shape for something that they didn't want her to be, particularly looking great in. Anyway, that's a great video, great cover. It's a great song in general. Yeah. I'm out on Seeger though. This guy was alive. This guy was sentient and active during Kennedy, and Barack Obama is his favorite president. So I'm out. I don't know how you could be alive during Kennedy and not, but it's fine. It's fine.
I mean,
it's fine.
I guess he was in his 20s, right? No, teens.
He was born in 45, so yeah, he was 18.
Yeah, he was 18.
18 when he
fresh.
died. So yeah,
fresh eyes, bush tail. Fair enough.
Yeah.
There you go.
go.
Love it. All right. So another one I have here, a band that I don't think I've ever talked about them on this. I'm not an expert by any means of this band, but I like 3 of their records. I believe they have 4 records, but I'm a big fan of 3 of them. I've not given their first record a decent listen, but out of Champaign, Illinois, you don't get more American than that. The band is Hum. This is a shoegaze. We talked about Hum before. So it's a shoegaze, indie, a little definitely some heavy experimental stuff in here as well. Giant guitar, some stoner rock, some I found later in life here that I really dig the stoner rock, doom metal vibes. I really dig that a lot. They're similar but different. I like that a lot. I think Hum is especially this record and the newest record, Inlet, that came out in 2020. I want to say those records especially 2020 are big on that sound. So just massive guitars and a lot of distortion. And just it's really good. So if you're into shoegaze, I would recommend checking this out. The big record is big record. These are all major label records too, which is crazy. But the big record is You'd Prefer an Astronaut. Came out in '95. That's the big single on there, Stars. But The Pod was a big song as well. I Hate It Too is a cool song. And then this record came out in '98. This record's called Downward to Heavenward, and is Heavenward, and much the same. And it's got a little heavier, a little more shoegazy, and I've been really, because they actually just announced the represses that I've been waiting for years. This finally got repressed last year, and I got it in, and because for years, and I'm thinking at Zia right now, there's a copy of this from the first repress in like 2016, maybe. It's still at Zia for like $230 something or other, and it's the same. So what they did, they just repressed the same color, same jackets, everything. It's the exact same pressing, because Matt Talbot, the main guy from Hum, the lead singer, he doesn't like that everybody's obviously trying to sell, make more money off everything. So like he just made sure like we're just gonna do the same thing. So like it's the same jackets. There's literally no difference between this and the 2016 repress. So he just tried to kill the market because he doesn't want people to be paying all that money for it. And they do everything themselves. They just started working with Polyvinyl to do the represses for all 4 records for them. Even the new record, they went through Polyvinyl for the new record Inlet, and then they finally started doing it for this record as well, and the previous one. So double LP versions of You Prefer an Astronaut. This record obviously is a double LP, and then Electra 2000 came out in '93. I've not listened to that record yet, but I shall. And so yeah. Anyway, if you're into a heavy shoegaze, indie, guitar, bass, thing here, experimental sound, check out Hum, Champaign, Illinois Legends. So there you go.
Yeah, when you mentioned this band, whatever, like months ago, I had no idea what you're talking about. And it's funny because like that big record, You'd Prefer an Astronaut, came out in '95. They just got signed to RCA.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it. And Josh is like the mousetrap of random alternative bands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I figured they would have
Hum though, right?
I'm assuming so. I've just never come across them ever in my life.
Yeah.
So Josh could very well know Hum. I don't know. They were never on a alternative mix of his.
No Josh
I don't
Eyes?
think. I just never recognized the songs, I guess. Side note, you could get that record you just showed on cassette, and You'd Prefer an Astronaut on cassette if you want to.
Okay.
There
interesting. I will definitely look out for that, and probably pay through the nose for them, right?
They were on cassette, yeah. Side note, too, that You'd Prefer an Astronaut went to #1 on the Heat Seekers. And the Inlet album went to #1 on the Heat Seekers, too. I know it's not like the same thing, but as the regular charts, but
what's cool with the Inlet record is no one knew it was happening. So they were recording it. I think it was before COVID. They were recording it, and no one put it out there. It's the original band, and they put it out, and everybody like it's a really cool record. It's 22 years between their last and their newest. And this is before I ever really knew. I've heard of the band because I watched an old Stern clip. And he went on Stern in '95, '96 and played Stars because that's when Howard was trying to be hip. And he's like, this is going to be the next thing and whatever, because he does that. And back then, not whatever, I don't care anymore. But back then he would do that all the time. And because Hum was not, he wanted to get 9 Inch Nails forever. But Trent wants nothing to do with Howard Stern. Today, still wants nothing to do with Howard Stern, and Howard would jock Trent all the time. But anyway, but Hum was small enough. They were like, yeah, let's go on the biggest radio show in the country. So smart move by them. And they played Stars, and it was really, really cool. And so that was my first exposure, and I thought that song was cool. And then they played also 120 Minutes, I think, at some points. I watched that as well. And that's obviously now, not back then. And just got more and more into it. And so this last week, since they announced the represses, I've been listening to a lot of Hum, and I want to put that out there, and hopefully they tour again. Their drummer passed away last year, so not good. Hopefully, they maybe put something together, but he was a big deal, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, Hum, Champaign, Illinois Legends. Love it.
Good segue for me. Okay. Yeah, we didn't even look at each other's list.
Ooh, I know you're gonna pick. I know who's next.
Okay. Massive songs. You know, been around 50 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably never going to talk about them ever again. Because they're a band that I appreciate quite a bit. I've just never done the full deep dive. Yeah. And that's Cheap Trick from Rockford.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, Rockford, Illinois. So showing Dream Police here. Classic album, classic cover. I always love their album covers. Yeah, man. I mean, 20 million records, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016, Rockford, Illinois. Yeah, I mean, 50 years deep. Started in '73, wow. So they're still going today. Just massive albums too. This album, obviously, in color at Budokan. Just massive. And then they had The Flame in the late '80s, which was a massive song that went to #1 in '88. It's insane.
Used to have the nicest Budokan record. I remember we found that. I think it was cellophaned at one point. It was falling off, so I think you might have taken it off. But like I remember, it was cherry.
Yeah, I always look, and they're not. I don't find a lot of Cheap Trick anymore, so I need a nice copy of that again. And I would like to get in color, like the main albums. I would say Dream Police.
I feel like we see shitty Dream Polices all day. I feel like, or at least we used to. We used to be able to pave the streets with them.
Yeah. I mean, just massive songs, though, forever. And they're the type of band, too, where you hear a song and you never realize it was Cheap Trick. And it's like, they're the type of band, they're like, you listen to the greatest hits and it sneaks up on you how many songs you actually know and have heard. And then they stayed relevant because the That 70s Show theme song, that's them. Mm-hmm. So, like, they, again, just like Seeger, I think they're the second tier, like they're below Aerosmith.
Oh yeah,
like that level of bands, but like they're right there, man, in American pop culture, just like Seeger. Yeah, like you 100%. Put Aerosmith, Springsteen, Eagles, like up here, but
okay, here. Yeah. I thought you were gonna put them on the same level as Springsteen. I was gonna debate you.
No. I wasn't debating on that. Okay. I mean, I would debate you on that as a rib, but not like actual debate
sweet.
It.
Sweet.
So yeah, also, Cheap Trick.
All live. See them today. Big deal. They do 100% live. There's no tracks. There's no pitch correction. Every night they do it and make a big deal about that.
Another cool thing about Cheap Trick is basically all original members outside of Bunny. Bunny left like 10 years ago. Yeah. But it's Robin's son is now drumming. Okay. It's Rick's son. Sorry, I thought it was Robin. It's Rick's son.
Okay.
Is now drumming. So like basically original members almost the entire time.
Yeah.
Other than like a few years, Tom Peterson left the band in like the early to mid 80s for like 4 years, but then he's been back in the band for 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's really impressive. So
for sure.
Shout out.
And they still do big business. They're tour all year. Didn't you see Cheap Trick at one point or no?
I've never have. No.
Well, if they flow through here again with somebody, we should go see them and see what's going on.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I would love to.
I mean, again, when you hear all the songs, you're like, oh shit, yeah, this another one. Like it's just it's crazy. That's a catalog. That is a catalog that dive into.
So it's funny they actually seem to do working out with Bunny, like kind of what Motley Crue's going with, because Bunny remains an owner of the band. And he gets money, but he just doesn't tour anymore. So I don't know why Motley Crue can't work it out.
Because they want the money, and Rick and Robin aren't as selfish as Nikki Sixx is.
Maybe, I guess. So there you go. Cheap Trick.
F&A. All right. So I don't know if because we've been pretty good here with these transitions. I like that a lot. It's nice. So you might be able to hit me with another one. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. So it's a much different vibe than what we just went through. I think I've mentioned this band once, so I think I might have lied to you. And they were my first hardcore band that I was really, really into. I still love this band. They were one of my favorite bands for years when they were going, and then for a few years afterwards too. And today, I honestly don't listen to them nearly as much as I used to, obviously, but I also feel like So I texted your brother. Do you remember the band Hum? And Josh shot back. I remember a few songs, very 90s. Shades of Pumpkins and Deftones. There you go. All right, good job. Shout out Josh.
The live Josh Brown review.
There you go. Yeah, it's not wrong. So there you go. Nice. All right. Yeah, love you, Josh. So so my first real hardcore band, I was very into the straight edge scene, I suppose, as much as you can be when you're 14 years old. And I found this band. They were a very posy hardcore straight edge band from Boston, and that band is Have Heart. This is the second record, Songs to Scream the Sun. I was obsessed with them for years. I wanted to get tattoos. I couldn't get enough. I listened to nothing but this band for probably like 2 or 3 years there in high school, and maybe end of 8th grade going into high school. And I remember like definitely the reason why I grew up a bit and I stopped saying certain things. I was like, because shit was not cool in their scene. So I remember I stopped saying certain insults that people shouldn't say now either. And I remember they made me grow up a little bit. And I remember I wasn't ever going to drink anyway or like go and really party for various reasons. But like, I remember like they made it a thing and I was like, they're don't do it. Right. I'm not going to do it too, whatever. Right. So that's the whole thing. So I definitely owe some of my growing up a bit and whatever morality of some kind. I won't want to loosely to them being out there. And so out with their thoughts on things. And this is a great record. This came out in 2008. I remember going to that Warped Tour. And I remember it was maybe 2 weeks before the record came out, and I went to the Bridge 9 tent, and I remember asking them, "Do you guys have the Have Heart record?" And they were like, "Well, it's not out yet." And I was like, "Okay, but like, can you guys sell it, or like, do you guys have the CDs?" And like, because I think the word in the street was they did have them, because they were gonna put them out when it came out, so they had them on tour. Yeah. So like, whatever, they're gonna put them out. And so I was really wanting to do that. And I did not have a leak. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't know how to get it at the time, whatever. Right. So I remember just like thinking that maybe I could persuade somebody in the tent to give me a copy, and that didn't happen. So fun stuff. And the record came out and it was amazing. This record's very experimental, and when you compare it to the first one, it's very heavy, but they also have some quiet parts, a little bit of poetry on here. There's some. It's all positive messaging. It's all about self-reliance, and it's all about like not giving into the peer pressure and like having motivation, keeping your head on straight. Like not outwardly, this record especially not outwardly like anti-drugs or drinking necessarily. Besides, there's a song on here called Boston's, and then there's another song on here called Hard Bark Off the Family Tree, and they're on the Family Tree. And those songs are about Pat Flynn, the lead singer, about his grandfather being an alcoholic, and kind of like the trauma surrounding that and surrounding the family, whatever, just based on that kind of, because I think this is what I've talked about on the podcast before. I think the story is that he always grew up, and I think his grandfather was already passed away. He already grew up being told his grandfather was a great man, a great guy, and all that stuff, just because they didn't want to tell him how he actually was. And then when he got older, he found out, no, he was just, a horrible alcoholic and was really bad and like did all this stuff, but they didn't want to tell him that as a child, because obviously they wanted to maintain some sort of positivity there towards the person they found out and whatever. So anyway, highlights from this record for me, it's going to be Same Sun opens it up, and then also the Same Sun. So Same Sun, SON, first song, SUN, last song. Brotherly Love that song. Paved Paradise, all about being on the road. Boston's cool song, No Roses and No Skies. That's a song about women and how they're treated by a lot of men just throughout the early parts of their lives and throughout their entire lives, but early parts of their lives. Taste the Floor, cool song. So just the whole thing. Anyway, love it. Have Heart from Boston, Massachusetts. I don't know if you have a Boston band. Unless you have Aerosmith on the list. Maybe we don't have a clear transition here, but there we go. So Boston, hardcore, Have Heart.
Yeah, man, you were into them so much. Like didn't you have the banner? Didn't you have a Have Heart banner too?
I have three or four banners that I don't have up anymore. Yeah, I have a bunch of them. I had shirts. I have posters. I have a bunch of stuff, man. Like I remember like I bought a bunch of it was my first pre-orders I ever really bought.
Nice.
Them, the CD That's pre-orders. Cool. So I had like little posters and stuff. Yeah, CDs too. Yeah. I was all about it. I remember my first apartment had a poster and 2 banners up in the room.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think I had the poster up in my current bedroom at some point, and then I took it down because whatever. But F&A, cool band, and check out Fiddlehead. That's the new Pat Flynn band. So check out Fiddlehead. They're also very cool.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'll help you out. I got a Boston band. There we go. One of my favorite bands of all time. You have to check the tape when we did top 10 favorite bands. I don't remember if they made the list or they were an honorable.
Okay,
but they're in the discussion.
Wow.
76 from Boston. I think they're one of the greatest American rock bands, bar none. I think they're criminally underrated. I mean, they've sold millions of albums and they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I still think they're criminally underrated for what they did. And that is a little band called The Cars from Boston, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Another band just like Cheap Trick. It's the original lineup basically the entire way until Ben died. And then they didn't even replace Ben. They just did a record without him in 2011. So, I mean, you got the debut, one of the best, most iconic debuts of all time, self-titled The Cars. I just pulled it all because I'm like, let's just talk about it all. Candio, another great record. They fused punk and new wave and just, pop and, power pop together. Panorama, another great record.
But everybody can listen to The Cars. The Cars was a
Shake It Up.
Was a nice agreement band from a lot of different genres of people.
And then they really blew it up. Heartbeat City, Mutt Lange had all the videos, big MTV band as well. They got it. And then the last album with everybody, Door to Door, definitely their weakest album. It's my definitely least favorite. But I don't think anything's truly bad. Even Door to Door, like there's good shit here. It's just not as great. And I don't have Move Like This anymore because I got rid of that, and now that's like $300. So, and I don't think that will ever get repressed just because it's a random album. I bought that the day it came out too. I was so stoked.
Remember that?
I remember going to see it, buying it the day it came out. I think I bought the vinyl and the CD. Colin actually has it. My other brother has a copy of it on vinyl.
What year did that come out?
Up, so maybe someday I can snake that from him or buy it from him. 2011.
So I'm almost positive that in our previous incarnation, we did a show that night after you bought it.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Very, very likely.
I think I remember this conversation.
Yeah, man. I mean, they've always been in my life, and I think they've always been in everybody's life without them even realizing. I mean, so many Cars so many Cars songs are in commercials. Shake It Up, you might think. Drive, obviously.
Movies.
So movies, Fast Times, obviously. Sandler's done a lot of Cars songs and his stuff. So I think they are criminally underrated for what they did. They united genres, united fans, because like I've talked to people. I remember my dad's old boss. I remember talking to Frank and him talking about like growing up and being a Cars fan. He's like, yeah, like the punk kids liked them, the metal kids liked them, the new wave kids liked them. Like, everybody just kind of liked the Cars.
Yeah,
which is very rare to have a band that has that mass appeal,
universal appeal.
I think they truly did it. I love them. One of my favorite bands. I can listen to them all the time. Such catchy songs. Great. A knack for great songwriting. That's for sure.
No, for sure. I mean, the debut record, like they unlocked it immediately. Like it wasn't shaky at all.
Yeah.
That record has 5 huge songs.
Yeah. I mean, honestly too, like it doesn't really, they change it up too, but it never really falters. It didn't really falter till Door to Door. Like they just kept getting bigger.
Yeah.
Like Heartbeat City was massive, and then they did Door to Door, and that basically broke up the band. But shout out to the Cars, man. I'm sad I never got to see them. They're definitely a time machine band. Never really had the opportunity to, other than the new Cars, which that was never going to do that. But I mean, it's never going to happen now. But especially obviously with Ben gone, it gets rough, and then when Rick's gone, you lost the 2 voices. Like, there's nothing you can do now. So, there you go, the Cars.
There you go. Do you remember the conversation around when Rick passed, like his will. I think we talked about this before, maybe.
I think so. You can kind of
That
refresh my memory.
he made it very clear that his very recent ex-wife was to not get a dime.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were divorced for like, it might have been a year. Like it was very short when they got divorced when he passed. And yeah, he made it very clear in that his kids get whatever, but his ex-wife doesn't get a dime. So very interesting. Yeah. So good for Rick. Good for Rick, I guess, if things were bad. All right.
Good for Rick.
So
push him into the wood chipper.
Exactly. Told the cops he fell. All right. So these last two are real. These are very real. Very real. Okay.
All right.
I'm doing one. I could have done a lot of bands that are real, but like whatever. We're about to see.
I've liked this. I've liked this. This is different. I like this.
All right. Well, this is real, and I like this band a lot. Obviously, they're on my top 10 lists, and we're gonna go see them in 2.5 weeks. So,
I thought you were gonna put Guns, and you said Guns wasn't on.
Oh no, little band called Metallica. This is the live Webster Hall on the Hardwire tour back in 2016. This is now very expensive, so it's the one time I really pulled the trigger on it randomly, and then it all worked out. So love it. So Metallica, I mean, they're the biggest metal band in the world. They're one of the biggest bands in the world. They do the biggest business. They do everything better than everyone else does, from a business side especially, right? Like we talked about it a couple days ago. We don't know for sure. I don't think neither of us looked into it that deeply, but they're doing special vinyl pressings for dates on the tour because they just bought their own vinyl plant, the pressing plant. And they're just doing things special for I don't know, for every day. Did we find that out or not, or no?
Well, they just were talking about the Dallas one because I think they're in Dallas tonight, and that opened up like a day or two ago. And they in the Instagram post it says like get exclusive vinyl variants, and I'm like, the Montreal one actually said like Montreal exclusive. Everything else just says exclusive variants. So I'm like, are they just tour variants, or which would still be cool? But cool, anyway, are they all specific to the date, which would be very cool? I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, definitely going to the pop-up shop. So
yeah. We're gonna show up for early there. So we're gonna try to get it staged. We got floor seats both nights. Get on the stage.
Well, the pop-up shop will be in like a shop.
Yeah,
it'll be somewhere else in the city.
Yeah,
so like they'll just get an empty shop, and that'll open a few days before even the show happens.
Okay.
So,
love it. All right, so we got to figure that one out. But so Metallica, just one of the biggest bands in the world. They do massive business, million songs. Your mom, your sister knows Metallica songs. Your I don't care how young your kids are, they know a Metallica song. They're just around in the atmosphere just by osmosis from everything, right? So many records, and even the last two records people liked a lot to varying degrees. Obviously, you have different eras of Metallica, but I don't know. It's hard to think about American rock bands and not go too far before naming Metallica, right? Because 100%. So much, like when I was thinking about this, so many bands, like we just talked about it, so many bands are Euro. They're all European. They did it better than us damn near every time. So like,
they did it first, though.
They did it first, yeah, because they took American blues, and then they took the Black American blues, and they went over there and they made it different. That's where fucking a lot of the Sabbath shit came from, and whatever else, and the Beatles and everything else, and just they did obviously their own massive different spin on it, but that was the inspiration, right?
Basically, every influential rock genre, metal, prog, all that stuff is from Britain.
Yeah,
all those bands are British bands.
Yeah,
and there's good other bands in that realm, but I'm saying the most important bands are all British.
Yeah, the dreary, depressing, like war, of the fallout from World War II, depressing shit, whatever. Yeah. Like, because that next gen after the war, it's where a lot of that comes from. Right?
That's the very interesting thing about Metallica is Lars being where he's from and knowing his influences.
Yeah.
He took all those European bands and combined it into his band.
Yes.
So like even the European DNA is in Metallica. They've done it bigger and better than everybody else. I mean, you could call them trend tracers, whatever you call it. You know, we talked about all this in the ranking. Shout out to the ranking. Check that out on the channel. But like, they've always managed a way to be relevant. And honestly, the craziest part about it is now they're like they're the faces. They're the baby faces now. Where 20 years ago they were heels. Like everybody hated Lars. Well, now they're one of the most fan-friendly bands on the planet. Like, I get it. Everything costs money. Like, you're going to pay money, $50 for a shirt or whatever, $50 for the vinyl variant. My point is, they put everything out there. You can watch every set. Every set list is online for everything the band's ever done is online.
They have tonight. They did a live stream of the show in theaters, so you can watch it at AMC tonight. My friend Melissa went, but like,
oh, cool.
They do everything. Like, I love Metallica. They're not my favorite band. I wish they were. I wish Metallica was my favorite band. Almost the same way I wish Kiss was my favorite band. Like, they give you everything. No matter what you're into, Metallica gives it to you, whether it be like merchandise, music, accessibility, like their fan club, the meet and greets. Like, you can meet this band, you got to pay money for it, but they're available to you. So like, it's awesome. It's really cool, like what they've done. And like, as we talk about in the rankings, their concern, whether you agree with the way they went about it or not, everything was validated later on. So Lars's worry of music becoming meaningless and not getting paid for it, but Lars's like worry that the oversaturation of it all and the meaninglessness of the download, basically just making everything like just nothing. It's concerning. So like, beyond the music side of it, and that's what all happened. All of that is what happened later on. So
funny part about that though is they almost lean into that and then turn it around, because now they sell you so much. Like they took, okay, all this shit's going to be oversaturated, but we're going to find a way to still sell you shit. And like,
as long as we do it, we're going to do it then.
But honestly, Metallica doesn't come off like Kiss. Like, Metallica has you can buy Metallica anything.
Yeah. But
they don't come off like Kiss. Like, I think they even do it better than Maiden. Even Maiden's coming off kissy lately. But like, with, you know, how much they license their shit.
The game.
But like, they do it in the game. Well, they've had multiple games. They had the PC game back in the day. But anyway, I think they do it better than anybody else. I truly do. Like, I know I'm biased because I like the majority of Metallica music, but like, I think they do it better than, like, I don't even think that's a controversial opinion. Like, I think they do it better than almost everybody else, even pop acts. Like, they're at like almost a Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, like Michael Jackson, like that level of stardom and success.
Yeah, so we're gonna go see them in 2 weeks, whatever, right? 2.5 weeks, whatever it is. We're going to try our darndest here to make this thing happen when we get as close to the stage as possible. And I have faith that we will, knock on wood here, right? I have no doubt. I've seen a million shows and I've seen my favorite bands multiple times, people that I borderline worship here. Okay. I have no doubt that I'm probably going to walk out of those 2 dates, saying they're my favorite, the best shows I've ever seen. Because their production, their sound, they're so tight. I don't give a shit people say that Lars, whatever. I watch so much Metallica live sets these days because it just pops up now because they post up every one or every other one, right? There's so much out there. And like, both of us have watched the most recent sets and we've been really stoked on it because they're just doing everything just so crazy. The sheer magnitude of it all. You know, they're selling multiple nights at football stadiums, 100,000 or 65, 70,000 plus into hundreds for 2 nights in a row, like, or, two, whatever. Right. So, the other night, but it's just crazy what they do. And, I don't know, man, I'm super stoked. I think it's gonna be one of the best nights ever. And, so that's why Metallica makes the greatest one of the greatest American rock bands for me. This is a real one. Metallica. Love it.
Yeah. Definitely a good pick. I'm going to do an audible here. I was going to save this band for last, but since we're kind of got a good thing going, I'll keep it in California.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
I mean, they're one of the biggest bands of all time. They've lasted forever, still, whether you agree with it or not. And I'm going to talk about the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The big
Thought
box
about
set.
I hate that you have.
I mean, I was listening to a lot of this earlier before we got on, and they're another band, kind of like Cheap Trick, but even more so, where you don't realize how many songs you know. There's so many songs, so many hits, so many commercials, TV shows, movies, anything and everywhere. You've heard a Beach Boys song. They're indelible into Americana and pop culture of this country. I mean, we're 60 years deep. And yeah, I mean, California girls, I get around, surfing safari, surfing USA, fun, surfer girl. Like, keep going, Little Deuce Coupe, help me, Rhonda. Be true to your school. God only knows. Slope John B. Wouldn't it be nice? You can just keep going. You can just keep going.
Also, you just at the end there started cracking the good shit when like they actually changed the sound and changed like the stuff where Brian wanted to do more stuff. Like you had a million songs before then, and then you got into like the weird stuff that's really good too with Pet Sounds.
I like all the pop shit too.
No, for sure.
I like all the other shit.
Yeah,
I think they're great pop songs. I think outside of ABBA and Roy, like I think they are some of the best pop writers and musicians ever. Yeah. Like that would be my top three, probably maybe in that order. And then you know, they changed the game with Pet Sounds. Yeah. So, you know, when Pet Sounds came out, it totally changed the game. So I mean, they've influenced countless musicians from pop to psych to prog to anything ever. All their shit's been covered. You know, Brian's a genius. It goes on and on and on. Yeah. The current incarnation's weird because Mike Love's weird, and it's weird that Mike Love has ended up with the band. Also, a band though, as far as band members go, like the band members have pretty much always been the same. Other than just people dying. So, which is also really crazy to think about. I mean, obviously they've got live and touring musicians and shit like that. But as far as the actual band members go. So yeah, the Beach Boys, they had to be my only truly like, all these picks are real to me, but like the truly like, okay, that could be on everybody's top 5.
Yeah. And like Bruce Johnstone and like Al Jardine, like they're not a Wilson, obviously. They've been in the band for 40 years now. Like,
well, Al Jardine was in the band at the beginning.
So. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so Bruce Johnstone's later. So like everybody's in the band so long at this point, and like they're a band that definitely like. I mean, people compare them. They're the American Beatles, like as evolved, like because they changed so much, and they changed like production, they changed the way songwriting happens, and their influence is felt throughout, like you said, many genres, and they have different sounds in there as well, different little eras that people are into, and I wish I was a bigger Beach Boys fan. Like I really need to go deeper on things because I've been meaning to do that because I know people like, you know, feel like the Feel Flows box set that just came out, like that was a big deal for a lot of like I don't know, psych, I guess, but maybe like some like progginess in there, and a lot of people were really stoked on that because it was a massive box that had 1 million tracks on there and stuff, and I checked out some of that and it was really cool, and yeah, just Brian's a genius and everything else, but just, when I looked at like lists, because I was like, what's the consensus here? Beach Boys were basically number 1 on damn near every list, like, and it didn't really matter the site. So like, it's crazy how
I mean,
big they are.
I could hear the argument for Aerosmith, because they've been very culturally relevant forever. But Beach Boys were there first, and I think Beach Boys are more influential as far as people who take an influence from them. So
for sure,
100% had to be on the list. I love the Beach Boys too. Like, I'm not a super fan. I don't know the fucking lore and ins and outs, you know, but I love Brian. I love Pet Sounds. It's one of the best records of all time. I love all the hits too, and I love listening to the songs. Like, I don't get tired of them. Even the early pop stuff. I love this. They're so well written and catchy. They're always a fun listen.
One of my favorite things ever, and I think I've told you this before, I think we watched this before. One of my favorite things ever is to go look up the recording videos from Pet Sounds, and you see Brian's like brain working, and you see what he's hearing, and he's like, you can see like him staring off, and he's listening to the mix, and he's listening to the musicians, the wrecking crew do everything. And he's like having them redo stuff over and over and over and over again because he's wanting them to have a certain kind of sound on the drum, whether it be on the bass, whether it be on the crash, whatever's happening. He wants that sound. He knows what he's looking for. And he just like keeps like staring off, and he's just hearing the mix, and he's just like, that's it. And like you just see it click for him. That's one of my favorite things ever because it's someone who's a true like visionary, and they're the best possibly to ever do it in that way. I don't know. It makes me feel like all like warm and fuzzy inside, and like kind of just like, oh, like this is just crazy to see this, right? Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I love that. So yeah, love it. Beach Boys. There you go. F&A, man. The best. All right. So we all know. This is the number one. This is number one. This is the real one. My real number one. And
John Mellencamp.
It's John Cougar. It's Johnny Cougar. It is the one, the only musician truly called the boss. One Mr. Bruce Springsteen. This is live in New York on the reunion tour in 1999. For me, Bruce has always been in my life since very early on. My parents, massive Bruce fans, talk about Bruce many times in this podcast, whatever. Massive Bruce fans. And then it took me a little while to get into Bruce. It wasn't until about high school or so. After like growing up with it and my parents talking about the shows constantly, because they went and saw him, 5, 6, 7, 8 times or so. Way back when Arizona was one of the first, if not the first, hotbed for him on the West Coast. There's a lot of legendary Arizona dates from back in the 70s that are written about in books. I've read them, and all about how he played the Gamage Auditorium, and people thought that it was going to collapse because the balconies were shaking so much for Bruce. And when I think about America, obviously American rock bands, like it's very, very hard for me as personally, obviously, but just objectively, I think you don't get very deep without mentioning Bruce. He's going on 50 years. He's never really had, there's been some down and out couple records there in the 90s, but for the most part, like even like the last 25 years of albums, there's still a lot of people that have a lot of different feelings towards them, and most of them are positive. There's not really many throwaways. There's fandom for every one of them. And he's done everything right up until the most recent fiasco with the dates and tickets. We've talked about it, whatever. But it's crazy. His live shows, I've seen him twice. His live shows at this point, we just talked about Metallica being the best ones, but Bruce at this point are the best shows I've ever seen. He plays 3 hours every single night. The man is 74 years old. 73. He's going to turn 74 here, I think, in November. So I'm giving him a little older, but yeah, he kills it every night. He sounds great. He leaves it out there. He sweats his ass off, and he sold 150 million records, right? Just some crazy amount. And he still puts out really cool stuff. Like even the newest record, I still haven't bought it yet. The pre-order got canceled for me, so whatever, fuck him. But he still puts out really cool stuff, and he's still like, he doesn't have to. Obviously, the man hasn't had to release a record for 25 years at least. He could just be playing the Bruce hits. Just be playing. He could have been torn off Born to Run, Darkness, and Born in the USA for the last 40 years, and he doesn't do it. Just absolutely incredible. All the early stuff, obviously, and then the 80s with Born in the USA, he became one of, if not the biggest star for a good 3-4 years there. Did massive business, still does massive business, and is bigger. Funny enough, ironically, we're doing an America thing here. He's bigger in Europe than he is in America. He sells out soccer stadiums over in Europe. Like he's playing. He doesn't play arenas. He plays in England and Spain and Italy. Everywhere is all soccer stadiums. And he sells just buku hanging from the rafters, Ricky Morton style. It's crazy. But yeah, so for my money, number one all-time American musician band, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, the best, absolute best.
It's funny too, because I was going to ask you how much of those record sales you think are in the U.S., and I was going to say like 75 or more percent, but it's actually half.
Yeah,
it's 71 million in the U.S. and 140 million worldwide, so it's almost exactly half. It's pretty impressive because, I would say a lot of that music and what he writes about mostly is uniquely American. So most of the time, like that's kind of his gimmick. So that's really impressive. Honestly, I didn't know that. I thought the SEO would be way different.
No, it's the shows over there are even more intense. Like I would love to go see him in New Jersey, obviously, because that's a big New Jersey and New York, it's a big deal. But like if I didn't see him there, I would have no problem seeing him almost in any Euro city, because they are so crazy for that guy. Like there's a reason why like he's done multiple DVDs over in Europe. And he's playing arenas here. He's playing stadiums over there comfortably playing stadiums. There was rumors he was going to play stadiums here, but I always knew like that wasn't. He's not a stadium guy here. Like he'll do fine, but like you'll go and you'll see a lot of like open space. Like it's just what it is. He's good for 30,000-40,000 maybe. I don't know, max at like the major like in LA.
I mean that's still great.
It's great, amazing, right? But it's like if he played Chase here, Chase is like 35,000, I think, right? 37,000.
It's like 50, but
Chase is 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
For baseball, it's like 50.
Wow, I thought it was okay.
48,500.
Wow, I really thought we're way too many. That's way too many people.
That's why the stadium's awful.
That's why it's awful. Yeah, it's aircraft hangar. But if he played Chase, he wouldn't do Elton John business, I don't think. Obviously, it was Elton's farewell tour, so it's a little bit different. But like, I don't think he'll ever go on a farewell tour. But if he ever did, maybe he could do that kind of stuff everywhere.
You don't think that? That's
no, because he said he wants to go till he dies. He said it. He's like, He's like, what else am I gonna do? This is what I do.
Yes, yeah.
Like I'm going until I can't go. And I believe him. Like I believe he's gonna go until he cannot go. And it's not because like, oh, I can't. It's gonna be the last show. No, Bruce does steroids. Like Bruce does performance enhancing drugs. Like he does. Like there's a reason why Bruce looks great right now. Like healthily with doctor's supervision, everything else, whatever. But he's doing everything he possibly can to be in the best shape possible.
He's actually they just canceled shows. Actually,
he's got sick in Philly. Yeah, so he got sick and they had to cancel. He's gonna kick back on. It's what. Knock on wood here. Knock on wood. But I think he just got sick.
Hopefully
he keeps himself in great shape. He looks better than I ever will, and I am a quarter of his age almost. So like just under half. So it's it's crazy what that guy.
Father Time is undefeated though. That's the sad part about it. So
that is sad. I wish we could maintain at a certain point, just kind of cut him off. If he just maintained because at this time he turned 50. So if we could keep Bruce at 50 and 99 for this record, keep him at 50. He's good, man. He's good forever at that point. Like just killing it. It's a cool live record too. So whatever. Anyway, I love Bruce. Obviously, I have an entire wall still at this point dedicated to him. This will change. I think at some point here we're going to change this and make things different. But that's a work in progress.
All right. Unfortunately, I can't keep up the gimmick here with our matching locations because I didn't do Bon Jovi or Skid Row. So
that's true. Okay,
they didn't make the list. For my money, this is the greatest modern. What?
Oh,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know who you're gonna say.
Yeah, for my money, it's the greatest modern American rock band.
Okay,
easily of the last 20 years. Like it's not even close. They are future Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. If they don't get inducted, I don't even know. Might as well just tear down the hall. There's no point.
Okay, hold on. No connection. Have song with Last Guy.
Yes, 100%. So we're going to talk about band from Vegas, 20 years deep, The Killers, debut Hot Fuss, massive album, culturally just a pipe bomb. Like very, very much like the Cars to me, where they've united genres, they've changed it up on records. Basically, too, all the same members the whole time. I know Ronnie left for a little bit, and like Dave left, but then now they're back in the band. Like they just took a hiatus, so they haven't kicked anybody out. It's really impressive because Brandon is such a powerful presence, and so like identifiable, where like the other guys are also equally as important. Very cool that it hasn't just turned into Brandon's band. Even though there is a couple records where it's like you could tell it's mostly Brandon. But as far as like kicking people out, changing things, like haven't really feuded, which is nice. So
very
shout
nice.
out the
Change
feuds.
of pace.
Yeah, shout out the feuds. You can check that out on the channel as well. But yeah, Killers, Hot Fuzz. This dropped. I remember this dropping was giant. I remember seeing them on the OC and being like, what's going on here? And you started seeing the videos. You saw Mr. Brightside and
somebody told me.
Somebody told me. And those were played constantly. Giant, great record. And then it's like, well, what do we do next? Let's do something a little different. So you got Sam's Town, which was kind of more of the same, but a little bit different. And honestly, like people jumped off the bandwagon, but they've been a band that's done their own thing. I love Sam's Town too, man. When You Were Young, For Reasons Unknown. There's so many songs in there. When I saw them live, they did so many songs, and it's so many songs from all the albums. Like, it's very cool. They celebrated the whole catalog. And then it's like, well, what do we do after that? Sam's Town was very like down and gritty. It was after like Hot Fuzz is kind of new wave-ish, and then Sam's Town was more down and gritty. It's like, what do we do after that? Well, let's do it like a glam record. That Day and Age.
Hell yeah.
Another massive album. Spaceman. Human. It's a great song. Dustland Fairy Tale, which is Dustland Fairy Tale is very like a Sam's Town song. So it's kind of weird that it's on here. But great record. Great videos again. They got it. And then for my money, this is probably their best album. Got Battleborn.
Wow, still saying that. Okay. I know you were a massive fan when it came out.
I mean, we should probably just do the ranking ourselves eventually because Colin will never join us. But there's a lot. Anyways, here. But anyways, we'll do it eventually. But anyways, Battleborn. For my money, it's probably still my favorite record for them. Like, I think it combines everything that's great about this band. Flesh and Bone, Runaways, the way it was. I love this record. Miss Atomic Bomb, which is the sequel to Mr. Brightside. It's pretty cool. Check that video out. It's a great video if you never watched it. This is a great fucking album. And then we kind of get in a weird period of the band because that's when people started taking hiatus. Like Dave took a hiatus. But you got Wonderful Wonderful, which I like quite a bit. The Man's a cool song. The Man had I kept seeing that in like sports shit all the time. So like going to ad breaks for sports, I'd hear that song. So still in the mainstream, like pop culture. Run for Cover is a great song. Tyson versus Douglas, that's my favorite song on here. That's a great song. Out of My Mind. Rut's a really good ballad. Really good if you want to get depressed. So they're a 3-piece here. And then they did Imploding the Mirage in 2020, which is kind of more the same. Wonderful, Wonderful, a little bit different. This is probably my least familiar record, honestly. Fire and Bone, I like. Lightning Fields, Katie Lang's on that song with them. That's a pretty cool song. But Imploding the Mirage. And then this is probably my favorite record of when did this come out? This come out in 2021.
21.
Is it that long ago?
Yeah.
Pressure Machine. It's probably my favorite record they've done probably definitely out of the last 3. Pressure Machine is an awesome album. If you want to listen to it, I would just not listen to the vinyl version. I would just listen to the full unabridged version with all the interviews. It's a really cool record because they take interviews from people that grew up and still live in Brandon's town, his hometown. So like, it's a very small, backwoods town, a lot of drugs, a lot of problems. And they interview a lot of the people that live in the town. So they intersplice that with the songs, and the songs kind of go into, it's kind of a concept record. Pretty cool. This actually came with this little booklet, which is really cool when I bought it. It's kind of like a handbook. It's kind of like an old, like how to, like if you're going to build something. So like each song has the lyrics, and then they got like a picture and stuff in there. So it's like a little manual, like if you're going to work on a car or something. It's really cool. This was not a pre-order bonus, but I just bought it at the record store when it came out. So if you bought it, you got the freebie.
Hell yeah.
So pretty cool to have that. I love Pressure Machine. For my money, like I said, they're the greatest American rock band of the last 20 years. I think they've carved their niche to where they're beyond, because they could have very well just faded into, remember that band after Hot Fuss? Very well. Easily could have happened.
A lot of bands did that.
Yeah, happens to a lot of bands.
Yeah,
especially in that era. And they've managed a way to stay culturally relevant and like gain new fans, keep their old fans, and because they do what they do, they do what they want to do. Like bands like that, that's how they survive. Like that's those bands like Rush. That's a prime example of Maiden. Like they do what they want to do, so like they gain new fans as they go. If they're losing a fan, they always try to stay relevant to that, and I love them for it. So
I think they were perfectly timed because 04 Hot Fuss. I think we've had this conversation privately, but backstage, but off airs. But they were perfectly timed as 04. 04, we have 3.5 more years of CD sales. We still have there's still massive label dollars. There's like MTV
Videos.
Still exists, radio still exists, videos are still a thing. Like they caught everything, grant you, on the way out, but at the perfect time. Because it wasn't as big as it was 4 or 5 years prior, because that's the biggest anything ever was at that point. More CD sales, more record sales than ever. But they managed to get that last bit of that wave, and that maintained them, because then Sam's Town comes out I just looked at 06. So that's on the way out. We're getting on the way out there. And that was still a pretty big record. And like I think we just said, I think there is a lot of stuff that people forget about that is on Sam's Town that were big. There's big songs on there. And big videos. So like if they would have been a few years later, maybe the conversation is different. Maybe they don't get the shot. They don't get the exposure. They don't get your sister wanting to listen to them. Maybe they don't get that, right?
Maybe.
But it's perfect. It was a perfect timed for that era, and just for them being able to exist, because Hot Fest was so big. Hot Fest is 10 million, right? It's Diamond. I want to say this is true.
I think so. Sam's Town sold almost 5 million worldwide. I think it's pretty close. But yeah, I mean, when you were young, man, that's a massive song. Massive song. So we got 7 million. 7 million
as of 2012. So
it's Diamond.
But also, here's the thing: 7 million as of 2012, only 3 million in the US. So they are big. 4
yes,
million
they are
copies internationally.
They are big
in
Europe. Like I'm pretty sure they've done Wembley.
Yep.
The arena or the stadium, excuse me.
Or they did Royal Albert, didn't they?
They have Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, that's a big live show.
Yeah,
it's a great show. You can check that out. It's on YouTube. Yeah, they are massive overseas too, so that helps too.
Headline Glastonbury in 07 and 2019. That's a pretty big swing there of years they were still relevant, like you just said. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said for my money, they're the greatest American rock band in the last 20 years. They're surefire rock and roll Hall of Famers. Definitely. I mean, we're coming up, right? 25 years after the first release. So
29.
So yeah, we're not that far away. Crazy.
Yeah.
So
we're then spitting
anyways,
distance here.
Yeah. It's insane to think about. That's insane. Yeah. It's insane that Hot Fuzz is almost 20 years old. That's really insane.
That tour's going to be crazy.
They're not going to do that.
They won't do 20 years of Hot Fuzz?
No, they won't do that. I don't doubt it.
All right. We'll see. How much money are you spending?
I'll definitely go see it if it comes here for sure. I mean, I'd spend, I don't know.
Would you go to the Forum?
Maybe get like 200. Oh, like if it didn't come here?
Yeah.
I would probably travel. I don't know if I'd want to go to LA.
Okay.
If there was like a Nevada, there'd definitely be a Vegas show. They'd probably play the stadium there though.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I mean, you did see him at a 2,700 cap room, so like that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, right. One of the best shows I've ever seen. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think they'll do that though. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see. We got some years left, so we got 6 years left. So, or actually 1 year left until 20. Sorry, I was thinking of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, let's wrap this bitch up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button if you made it this far. You might as well watch 90 minutes of us ramble on. Comment down below. Who are some of your underrated or under the radar, I guess, American rock bands that you want to appreciate? Like I tried to choose my list of like obviously giant bands, but like not Aerosmith, not the Eagles. The Beach Boys were by far like the easiest pick. So yeah, Eagles could definitely be on there. Van Halen, obviously not on there. So yeah, I mean, I even thought about Slayer for a little bit. Ooh. Like I really like Slayer's really impressive. What they carved out their like maiden niche. Like they just stayed true to themselves and relevant their entire career and making big money for the music that they played. So thought about Slayer too.
They went out the biggest they ever were. They played 3 nights or whatever at the Forum. So it's sold out. So it's that's can't get much bigger than that for them.
Yeah. So we always get to the end of the episode and we choose a topic. So I chose tonight's topic. Tyler, you're on the spot. What you got?
Okay. So we talked about this. We did talk about it. So we're gonna do a review. Okay. I'm gonna give you a homework assignment here. Okay. We're going to listen to. So we talked about this. So we can do a versus. Would you rather do a versus, or would you rather do a review of a record neither of us have listened to all the way through, maybe ever?
I would personally rather do like an album homework assignment.
Okay.
Where I've listened to the album, but you haven't, and vice versa.
Okay.
But it's your choice. So whatever you want to do. Because the reason I do that is because I think there's more meat on the bone.
Okay.
Whereas I think we'll do a review and it's done in a half hour.
Okay.
If we're both listening to something for the first time.
Okay.
That's what I mean. If we split it up, I think you're getting a better episode.
Okay, so you'd rather I give you a homework assignment of a record I've listened to already?
Yes, but then I would have to give you one.
Okay, so we got to tag. Okay, so
on Sea of Tranquility, they do album homework assignment. So usually they'll pair up the two people, and then the one person will give them an album, and the other person will give them an album, and then they'll get together and they'll talk about the album. And usually you try to gear it to like, okay, this person's gonna like this album. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But usually that's what they do, and then they see if they actually did like it or not.
Okay.
So
all right. So I have a record for you. Then, you want to do that? Do you have a record?
Yeah. I've thought of ideas before.
Okay.
I've thought about this idea a lot to do.
Okay. Fair.
So.
All right. So I will give you an assignment of one of the biggest scene records of all time.
All right.
That you've never listened to. I think you know 3 songs off the record just by osmosis. But it's one of the biggest records of all time for the last 20 years. That record is 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance.
Oh, my God. All right. right.
I think you'll like it. I don't think you'll hate it. I think you'll like it fine. Maybe I don't know if you're gonna buy it, but I think you might go. I get it.
All right, MCR, 3 Cheers. All right,
there you go.
I've never even really listened to MCR. Like I've no songs, but I've never listened to a full album. The band I'm thinking about giving to you, I'm pretty sure you've seen this band. So
it's gonna be Maiden. It's gonna be Seventh Son. Oh.
No. All right, I know you love production. I was just listening to this record like last week. I'm gonna give you Ghost's brand new album.
Okay.
Impera.
Okay.
It's brand new, the one that came out last year.
Okay.
My reasoning behind this, and we'll talk about it more when we do the episode, but I think this is one of the best productions in a long time.
Okay.
Like it approaches hysteria level of audio goodness when you listen to this album.
I love it.
I think you're gonna dig the record too. I won't go more than that, but I think you're gonna dig the record. You might be surprised if you haven't been following along with like the trajectory of the band.
Okay.
So
interesting. Okay, hold on. Okay, you give me that. I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna make you listen to MCR. I'm gonna switch it. I'm switching it up now. I'm gonna make you listen to MCR at some point, but I'm not doing that now because I would much rather hear your opinion of one of my favorite records of all time. That again, I know you've never listened to a second of it. I don't believe.
Okay, all right.
That is brand new. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me.
Okay.
So the MCR will happen. I'll hit you with that at some point.
All
That's your homework assignment. But Devil and God, brand new. That is that. I think you'll dig it. I think that record you'll legitimately like. And I think that production on it super cool. Songwriting super cool. Loud guitars, weirdo shit, experimental. Into it. There we go. All right. So scratch it.
All right. Now I feel like I need to change mine, but it's all right.
No,
like, I feel like I should give you like a top 10 favorite record.
No, I want to listen to Hysteria. I want to listen to that. Also, Panteria. Ooh, Panteria.
That's a good name.
Pantera
band. Ghost Impera. That's the name of the album.
Okay.
So, I'll keep it the same.
I like that. Okay.
I mean, it's definitely in my. I mean, they only have 5 records. I was thinking about a ranking for Ghost. But
would you? Okay, hold on. You can keep it the same. So now all this you can keep it the same if you want to, but you can. I will allow you if you want to pick one of your favorite records of all time now because I just picked one of mine. I'll do it. So if you want to pick Iron Maiden, Seventh Son, I'll do it. We don't have to do that. I was just picking something.
Let me think about it. Let's keep it the same.
Okay.
Because I've been thinking about the Ghost. I've been thinking about giving you the Ghost record for a while.
Okay.
So let's keep it the same. Let's think about it because I don't know if I'll dive in with Seventh Son right away.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I don't think you've never listened to an Iron Maiden record all the way through, right?
No, I listened to. Oh, I do. No, I listened to. Hold on. I listened to when I got Tidal for the first. I actually just got Tidal back, by the way. For a month. So I listened to hold on. Power Slave. I listened to Power Slave. I don't know why I didn't know.
Okay.
That. Listen to Power Slave.
I think there's a better starting point for you. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
So I don't think Seventh Son would be the first thing I'd give you. There's other records I'd give you that are better starting points.
Okay.
So let's keep it the same. I want to hear your Ghost impressions. Like it's not my favorite Ghost record, but I want to hear your impressions of it because I really love the production on the record, and it gets weird. Some of the shit they do. So Tobias does. So check the Ghost record out. I'll listen to brand new, and we'll reconvene sometime next week to give our thoughts and reviews. So this could be fun. It could be fun. The reason too, I don't want to give you Maiden because I don't want to get it too personal. I don't want to like, because if you got to tear each other down, I don't want to tear both.
You want to be friends afterwards? It's like getting in a fight. Don't hit you in the face. You want to be friends afterwards?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So
All right.
we'll dip our toes in this way. Anyways, guys, we'll see you next week. Peace.